Good afternoon and welcome to everybody. Glad you could join us. So we're going to talk about what's new from Apple. As you may have heard last week, instead of doing a presentation, one presentation featuring several different products, they did press releases on 3 new products, and they also have videos available on the Apple site and YouTube explaining about each of those products separately. So something a little different from Apple. So let's find out what that's all about on Go for Lunch for November the 5th, 2024. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, and we are here to make your technology work for you. Well, of course, this is Election Day. So if you haven't already gotten out there and voted, you have until 7 o'clock tonight to make your vote known. So let's do that. So there's 3 new products from Apple that were announced last week: an iMac with a 24-inch screen, a Mac Mini, and several versions of MacBook Pros. And of course, the big thing was all of these computers have the newest Apple Silicon, the M4 chip. So let's start with the iMac 24-inch. It has 4 USB-C inputs. The second level and higher have a Touch ID keyboard. They have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and they can support up to 2 external monitors in the higher level versions. So here are some points that you want to be aware of if you're shopping for a 24-inch iMac. The base level model, which starts at $1299, only has 2, count them, 2 USB ports, and it does not have Touch ID on the keyboard. So to get 4 USB ports and Touch ID, you need to start at the $1499 level and above. So you can see the specs here are pretty much the same otherwise on the first 2. Then on the third version, we go up to 512 kilobytes of storage. And the fourth version, which is not pictured here, goes up to 24 gigabytes of memory. So those are the basic differences. And of course, you can add more memory, add more storage to these to suit your present and future needs. Well, look at those colors. They're brilliant. So they come in 7 colors: green, yellow, pink, red, purple, blue, and of course silver. So you can brighten up your computer desk with a color here that you like. And the keyboards are also color coordinated, and even the power cords are color coordinated. So you can do what you want to do with those. So let's go over some of the features, some of which we've already mentioned. It has a 6-speaker sound system, which gives very good sound, supports up to 2 displays. It is the world's best all-in-one computer. And of course, the M4 is designed to accommodate Apple Intelligence, which is rolling out slowly. Some features came out with macOS Sequoia 15.1. More features will be coming out next month with 15.2, and we will be doing a separate presentation on how those Apple Intelligence features are actually working for people like you and me. So we're going to have up to 32 gigabytes of unified memory. That means that the memory is built into the chip. And again, you have a keyboard and a mouse included. If you want the Touch ID, you need to spend a little bit more money. You can also, for $30 extra, get the 10 keypad. It has a 12 megapixel center stage camera. Now, center stage means that the camera, when you're on a video call, will follow you around. If you're moving, or if more people come to the picture, it'll widen to include them and narrow if they leave the picture. So that's kind of fun. And of course, the M4 chip. It has a 4.5K Retina display, so it's a nice monitor. And for the first time on an iMac, they have the option for $200 of having the nano textured screen, which is an anti-glare screen. So if your computer is going to be in an area that has lots of light, you might want to consider that nano texturing. It has 3 microphones, which gives you studio quality audio, so you'll be heard well on those video calls. And of course, it does have the Touch ID. We've talked about that. Here's an interesting feature. It's iPhone monitoring. So you can plug your iPhone into your iMac, and you can manipulate the iPhone from the iMac. So there may be some use cases for that for you. So it is 2 times faster than an iMac with an M1. So you notice they're not comparing it to an M3 or an M2, because the difference really is not that significant. And it's 6 times faster than the most popular Intel-based iMacs. So if you're still rocking a 27-inch iMac or different size screen iMac, this is a big upgrade from that. So the 16 gigabytes of RAM is not only in the new products, it is in all of the existing products. So if you buy a MacBook Air, you're going to get 16 gigabytes of RAM. So what happened here? Apple listened to its customers when especially the MacBook Pros came out last time with only 8 gigabytes of RAM in a Pro machine. A lot of people thought that was inappropriate. And so Apple did listen to their customers. And the other reason is it's there for Apple Intelligence. So everything we're discussing today is available for pre-order right now, and you can get it delivered as soon as Friday, November 8th, depending on the supply issues. So let's go to the Mac Mini. And you might say the Mac Mini is minier. You probably should say it's smaller. It's now 5 by 5 inches. The old one was 8 by 8 inches. It's a little taller to accommodate all those electronics in that 5 by 5 inch case. It does have 5 USB-C ports, which is nice. It also includes an HDMI output for your external monitor, and let's see how that might be a replacement for your 27-inch iMac. So there have been a few rumors that there is a 27-inch new iMac coming out. However, they're not very substantial, and we definitely can't count on it. So let's look and see how we'd put together a 27-inch computer using the Mac Mini. So here we are on Amazon, and what I did was I searched for 27-inch 4K monitor. So that'll be a monitor of equivalent quality to the 24-inch monitor on the iMac. So you can see we've got some sponsored ads here to begin with companies that neither you nor I have ever heard of. Actually, I have heard of Spectre. But now we get to a company that we've all heard about called Dell. So this is a 27-inch 4K monitor, and it's $219. So here's an LG for $249, 4K 27-inch monitor. LG is the company that Apple uses for their monitors. So you can see you've got some different price ranges here. And here's another thought. You could get a 24-inch iMac and get a 24-inch monitor or 2. So those are only $99. So if you got enough room on your desk for 1 or 2 more monitors, that might be a way to go instead of getting a 27-inch. And another thing you could do is get a 32-inch monitor. So here we have a 32-inch monitor for $189. This is from a company called ZZA, which I have not heard of, so you'd want to read the reviews on this very carefully. And or you go here and get a 43-inch monitor for $649. So that'd be equivalent to like 2.5 27-inch monitors. So anyway, the point is that, as we'll see in a minute, this is a good way to get a 27-inch or larger monitor that's easier to read. And let's see how those stack up. So if we get a Mac Mini, it comes with 16 gigabytes of memory. We get 1 terabyte of storage, which is probably what many of you have on a 27-inch iMac. Then we get that external 27-inch 4K monitor. That comes out to $999 for the Mac Mini, $217 for the Dell monitor, or something equivalent, for a total of $1,218. So how does that stack up with a 24-inch iMac? Well, we got the same amount of memory, of RAM, same amount of storage memory, but we do have a smaller monitor, and we have a larger price of $1,899. So almost $600 difference there. And you have the advantage of, when you have a Mac Mini that's only 5 inches square, if you have to take it in for service, that's all you have to take. Whereas if you have an iMac, you have to take a big monitor with you. So that's one advantage. And another advantage is you can update the components separately. If you want a better monitor, you don't have to buy a whole new computer. If you want a better computer, you don't have to buy a new monitor. So some advantages of using a Mac Mini and a large screen monitor. So here is the front of the Mac Mini. It has 2 USB-C ports and an audio port. And then on the rear we have the power, the Ethernet, the HDMI for that external monitor, and 3 more Thunderbolt USB-C ports. So down here and below is the cooling system. So there's a fan built into the Mac Mini, which draws in cool air to cool the components, and it exits out on the other side of this base here that's all set up for ventilation. So one of the things that I'm going to be looking for, because I'm probably in the market for one of these to replace my M1 Mac Mini, is how the cooling works, because sometimes there's problems with cooling. So I'm not buying one until I see the reviewers comment on whether the cooling is working. So let's do a little roundup here of the features. Again, the small size, 5 inches by 5 inches, the Thunderbolt 5 ports. You can configure this up to 64 gigabytes of memory and up to a terabyte of storage. This is the first carbon neutral Mac, and it is 6 times faster than the top selling PC desktop in the equivalent price range. It also has a 10 gigabyte Ethernet connection, which would be probably something that you would want if you had 1 gigabyte internet connectivity. It can support up to 3 6K displays. That's going to be probably in the Pro version of the chip, the M4 Pro. Again, you have the 3 connections on the back and 2 connections on the front, plus audio. And as you get up to the M4, you can get a 14-core CPU and a 20-core graphics processing unit. So the Mac Mini does not come with a keyboard, so you're welcome to use your existing keyboard and mouse, or you can add a new keyboard, which is going to cost you, I think they're $120 from Apple, $30 more for the keypad if you want that. And I think the mouse is $70. And you can get a trackpad too. So that is the Mac Mini, and again, the M4 and the 16 gigs of RAM are there to help utilize Apple Intelligence. So now we have the MacBook Pro lineup. And we have 3 chips available on the MacBook Pros, the M4, the M4 Pro, and the M4 Max. So there's a 14-inch and a 16-inch version. And on the 16-inch, you can get 3 USB-C inputs. On the lower end, 14, you only have 2. So you should be planning on purchasing a powered USB hub to accommodate more inputs, and also to accommodate those USB-A connections you have from your printer and your backup drive and anything else you might have. Now, they are supposedly going to give you 24 hours of battery life. Your mileage may vary, but that's very good battery life. And it has a liquid Retina XDR display with 1600 nits of brightness. So that means it's a high quality, high resolution display with plenty of brightness. So let's look at all the different features. Again, you can get it in a 16-inch or a 14-inch screen. The battery life up to 24 hours. It's up to 20 times faster than an Intel-based MacBook Pro. It supports up to 4 external monitors in the higher end, would be probably in the M4 Max or M4 Pro. It will of course come with the latest operating system, macOS 15 Sequoia. You have up to 16-core CPU, 40-core GPU. Again, the nano textured screen is available for I think a $200 option. It does include the magnetic power connection, the MagSafe 3. It does have a card reading slot for those memory cards from your DSL or mirrorless camera, and an HDMI port, of course, to connect to your monitor. It has a 6-speaker sound system, and it has 3 microphones too for professional quality sound. Has the 12 megapixel center stage camera, which again moves with you. And you can get up to 8 terabytes of storage, 128 gigabytes of memory. So a very powerful computer, something that some of you may need and some of you may not need. So if you have an advanced workflow like video editing, photography, where you're doing a lot of editing, scientific or engineering work, programming, then a MacBook Pro would be a good choice. But if you have just normal tasks for your computer, like surfing the web and doing email, then probably a MacBook Air with a M2 or M3 chip, 15-inch or 13-inch screen would be plenty for you. And the price difference is about $600, $999 for the MacBook Air, opposed to at least $1,599 for a MacBook Pro. So something to consider if you're replacing a MacBook. Thank you, Bob. And so let me go back here to one screen, since I was on the wrong screen. So I'm just going to let you see this. You heard it, but you didn't see it. So basically, some of the big differences are supporting 4 external displays. You have a choice of 3 different M4 chips, the higher end chips giving you higher end specs, and there you go. Okay, so do you have any questions? There's the comment section down below in YouTube. You can type those in if you haven't already. And for those of you that use Zoom, version 6.2.6 is now available. And if you could share that GoFor Gazette that comes to your email inbox every Monday morning about 7 o'clock with anybody you know, just one person that uses Apple devices, that would help them and help me too. So let's see what we have here as far as comments. So Susan and Bob, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't switch the scene there for you. So thanks on keeping me in the know of what I'm doing or not doing. So Bob has an interesting comment here. He has a Mac Studio, which is kind of the same configuration of a Mac Mini, and it has a similar cooling system, and he doesn't think that he has ever heard the fan come on. So certainly the fan has never been a bothersome bother to him. So that is probably, hopefully, an indication that the Apple engineers know what they're doing about cooling their computers, and the new 5-inch Mac Mini will also not have any cooling problems. So we're going to hope that that is the case and wait and see. They're coming out again November 8th, which is Friday. There's probably some influencers that have those machines already, so I haven't taken the time to check those out on YouTube yet, but I'll be doing that this week. And I'm actually probably not going to buy a new Mac until Mac OS 15.2 is out, depending on the reviews on that. You know, we usually wait for 15.3, which could be in January. That was the case this year. So we'll have to wait and see how those operating systems are working when they're out in the wild, as we say. So thank you very much for hanging out with me today. We'll be back next Friday at high noon. If you have any questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to call or email me, and I'll be glad to help you with those in between GoFor lunches. Take care.